You are watching the WD Broadcasting Network, your home for racing highlights, iRacing broadcast, commentary, and more. But here comes Jeremiah Woods. He wants to win in the Street Stock Showdown. He's hungry to get up to the front. If you are a fan of short track racing, the WD Broadcasting Network is your home for racing content in real life and on the sim. Follow the WD Broadcasting Network on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And don't forget to hit that red subscribe button on YouTube to never miss an upload. Top spot away, Terzak once again into the back bumper. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the show. Good evening, race fans, and welcome back to the WD Broadcasting Network. Welcome back to the Indianapolis Raceway Park for the second night in a row. Tonight we are with the Leave the Pack Street Stock Showdown for race number 11 of their season. Coming into tonight, we've had 10 action-packed races so far. Last week we just got finished up with the biggest race in the history of the series, Slinger for 200 laps. That was a challenge presented to the drivers, and it was a fun race where Brandon Elvis ended up picking up the victory, his 11th in series history, which is the most all-time for the two-time champion. We'll see what he can do tonight at IRP. But we're in the final stretches of the season, just 5 races left, including tonight's 50-lapper at the second largest race of the racetrack of the season. We did go to Rockingham back on July 14th. But next week we will head to the mini Oswego, the 3/8 mile for 75 laps. That one's going to be a wrench into things. A lot of these drivers maybe never having laps on that racetrack. We'll see how things shake out with that there. Then 5 flags to wrap up the season. Lanier after that, and then we're kind of up in the air on that last race of the season. That Monday there, or Tuesday there, is right after, or I guess the week before Labor Day. I'll have to see how that all settles out, but I think we're potentially going to wait for Winchester to come out, assuming it comes out in September. If we've got confirmation that it's coming out in September, that final race will be at Winchester, so I'm excited to see how that will go there. But it's time to qualify here at Indianapolis Raceway Park. Let's look at our championship standings real quick. We'll look back at them in a moment, but very close up at the front. Dylan Connor holds the top spot over Brandon Atkinson by just 2 points, and then not too far behind him is Brandon Elvis, the two-time champion, just 16 points behind Connor, who leads. Both Connor and Elvis have prior championships in the Leave the Pack Street Stock Showdown. Brandon Atkinson looking for his first this season. We'll see what he can do. As it's time to qualify. And we'll see who the first driver out on the racetrack is. And making, I believe, his first start in the Leave the Pack Street Stock Showdown. Driver out of Portage, Michigan in the FK Rod Ends Next Generation Lawn Care 883. You can usually see him on Kalamazoo on Friday nights, or at Kalamazoo on Friday nights. And in the Outlaw Late Model with the Reveal the Hammer series, this is Bryce Bozell. Still getting the hang of the whole iRacing deal. One of the young kids that actually has probably more real-life experience than experience on the sim. Bryce just out getting seat time here tonight, trying to figure out what that car is capable of. His first lap time, a 24.78, faster than what he was doing in practice, but still has a little bit to pick up. Now we'll look at the number 15 of Brandon Atkinson. Atkinson with a new paint scheme on that 15 this week. Some new colors trying to give him that extra bit of luck that he's going to need for the second half of this season, just 2 points behind Dylan Connor at this moment. Atkinson down the back straightaway. We'll see what he can do. Currently, Kyle St. Jean holds the top spot in the number 55, a 24.003. Just about into the 23-second bracket. Brandon Atkinson, first lap time, goes fourth quick. We'll see what he can do the second time around. Currently, 15 cars have qualified. St. Jean holds the top spot. And top of the board, Dylan Connor into the 23s, a 23.959. And that is top of the board for the 91 of Dylan Connor. Just shy of a new track record. Track record set by Chris Smith on December 4th of 2024, a 23.830. And now 2 drivers left to qualify. Next driver out onto the racetrack. He opened up the season with a victory at the North Wilkesboro Speedway. This is the driver out of Lexington, North Carolina, the JTT Media Twisted Speed Shop. Mid-Pack Mafia number 55. This is Gavin Gardner. Gardner had a good run going at Slinger last week. Ended up P2. A good result, but I'm sure he would have wanted 1 spot more. We'll see if he can get a good qualifying position to secure himself a good starting spot as he moves up 1 spot into the 7th position. The invert here tonight, a 6. Currently Adam Fulford sitting in the money spot for the redraw. But Matthew Elsey Jr. up into the 4th position in qualifying, and he'll shut it down after lap number 2. On lap number 2, I should say. But Dylan Connor, top of the board in the 91. Second, Kyle St. Jean in the 55. Connor Knowlton, third. Good run from the 24 in qualifying. And we've got a good field of cars here. A lot of previous winners. We've got 2 of our previous winners at the Indianapolis Raceway Park in the field tonight. Justin Coleman picked up the victory in season number 1. Then it was Chris Smith in season 2. That was his first victory with the series. The night that he set the track record. That was back on December 4th, 2024. Smith did get another win that season. That was at the South Boston Speedway just 2 weeks later. But since then, Chris Smith has not been able to get a Street Stock Showdown victory. There's been a couple drivers that have had a dry spell for quite some time that would love to pick up the victory here tonight. We're going to grab a word from our fast qualifier here tonight, who's going to add some bonus points to that points lead. Dylan Connor up in the booth here tonight. Only car in the 23-second bracket. It's a long 50-lap race. How can you keep that car in one piece and fast for 50 laps?
I think focusing on that right rear will be the number one thing. It's really, really slick here, and not so much tire wear, but I think it's just going to get so hot where the right rear will go way fast. But yeah, these bonus points definitely help us tonight. Would really be a big boost to try to go out here and win this thing tonight. But bonus points play a big factor in this points deal, so definitely a good way to start the night.
Yeah, for sure. The bonus points, like you said, they've in seasons past won championships and lost championships for other drivers that didn't acquire enough bonus points. The invert's a 6 here tonight, so you are going to be a little bit behind the 8 ball there. How are you kind of approaching passing your way up through the field? It's tough to pass here at IRP. Is there going to be a slider line to throw, or are you just going to have to use up the bottom? What's it going to be?
Yeah, I think starting 6th there, we'll get the high side from the jump. I think that's a good thing here. maybe I could clear 1 or 2 off the start and then kind of fall in a hole and see how the race plays out. You know, if I can get in a good hole and just hopefully, you know, let them guys get up there and race a little harder than I do, and maybe have a little right rear left at the end, make the passes easier. But we'll see how it plays out. I think just being smart at the beginning is the main thing.
For sure, you have to, in order to finish first you have to finish, right? You have to make sure you check all the boxes there. But congratulations on another pole position. You are the driver with the most pole positions, or I guess fast qualifier awards in Street Stock Showdown history. So good luck to you here tonight. Hopefully you can defend that points lead and have a good run at Indianapolis.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, that was your current points leader and fast qualifier here tonight, Dylan Connor. We'll see what Dylan is able to do. Going to be starting from the 6th position. Take a look at IRP here. One of the bigger tracks that we go to. We went to the Indianapolis Raceway Park all 3 seasons of competition, and here we are for a 4th visit to the track. In 3 races, we have had 3 different winners, so we'll see if we can have a 4th different winner here tonight, or if Justin Coleman or Chris Smith can return to victory lane. They're going to be starting from a little bit deeper in the field. Their work is cut out for them if they would like to carry the checkered flag at the end of the night. But the checkered flag does fly in the warm-up session. It's time to go racing in the Street Stock Showdown. Let's meet our starting lineup. Bringing us to the green from the pole. Driver currently 2nd in the point standings. Just shy of bonus points in qualifying here tonight. Qualified 6th. That is the 15 of Brandon Atkinson. And to his outside, it'll be the Brandon and Brandon show on the front row. Winner last week at Slinger. In the number 54, that's Brandon Elvis. Inside of row number 2, this driver has been knocking on the door of his first Street Stock Showdown victory. He's had a couple podium finishes this season and top 5 runs. Rolling off 3rd out of Otsego, Michigan, that is Matthew Elsey Jr. To his outside in the number 24, 2-time winner this season out of Hebron, Connecticut, in the JTT Media. Number 24, that is Connor Knowlton. Row number 3, great qualifying effort out of Twisted Speed Shop, KSD Graphics. Number 55, Kyle St. Jean, going to roll off from the 5th position. Alongside our fast qualifier here tonight, we just talked to him, the driver out of South Boston, Virginia. That's Dylan Connor, your current points leader. Starting in the 7th position, this driver still hunting that first Street Stock Showdown win. He's got a couple leave-the-pack wins, but not in this division. He would like to see it come here tonight. Starting from the 7th spot, that's the number 71 of Adam Fulford. And to his outside, winner in the season opener at North Wilkesboro out of Lexington, North Carolina, that's Gavin Gardner in the 55. Starting from the 9th spot, driver who has some laps here in a real Street Stock, that's Cole Baxter in the number 19 out of Bowling Green, Kentucky. And another driver out of Bowling Green, Kentucky in the number 22. That's Brian Gravel. Inside of row number 6. Winner a couple weeks ago at the South Boston Speedway. That's the 28 of Carter Hollingsworth out of Yorktown, Indiana. And to his outside, previous winner here at Indianapolis. That's the 80 of Chris Smith out of Easley, South Carolina. Starting from the 13th spot, that's going to be the number 18 of Chris Fleming. And to his outside, another former winner at IRP, the 14. Starting from 14th, that is Justin Coleman. And then rounding out the field back behind, it's Peyton Hamlet, Connor Lee, Jackson McLaren, Trey Ashworth, Jesse Binkley, Bradley Major, and Bryce Bozell, bringing us to the green. And we are racing at IRP for 50 laps in the Street Stock Showdown. Immediately, a couple drivers dipping out of line, wasting no time as they head down the back straightaway for the first time. Brandon Atkinson in the 15 going to pull ahead, try to slide up in front of Brandon Elvis, but can they do so? Off of turn number 4 for the first time, leader of lap number 1. It's going to be Brandon Atkinson, a couple cars sideways down the front straightaway. back behind. That's Cole Baxter in the 19. Trying to get a good run up off of the corner through lap number 1. Everybody in the right direction, trying to find where they can run on this racetrack. The first time they've been unleashed at the Indianapolis Raceway Park with that extra horsepower that we've seen is a little contact between Kyle St. Jean and your fast qualifier, Dylan Connor. Connor back to the 7th spot, going to lose a couple positions early, and that is not the way that he wanted to start things off, as we are only on lap number 3. Connor back to the 7th spot, and on that inside lane, not the place to be early on. You do see a couple drivers figuring out the top spot as Matthew L.C. Jr. in the 27 goes for a spin, and a couple drivers spin back behind him. Gavin Gardner in the 55. And a couple other drivers collected as well. Matthew L.C. Jr., the 55 of Kyle St. Jean. I think I saw Bryce Bozell in there maybe as well. Not entirely sure. Nope. Actually, not the 883. Let's see that one more time. This is down into turn number 3. We'll try and get it back a little bit further so we can really get a good idea of what had happened. Looked like the 27 of Elsie got clipped by the 55 of Kyle St. Jean. And then from there, it was pretty much just dodge them, everybody trying to avoid. Watch it right here off of turn number 4. This is everybody trying to avoid Elsie right as that happened. We'll go on board here with Kyle St. Jean down into the corner. This is what he saw down the back straightaway. Maybe just a little bit of contact there. And everybody back behind just not able to quite get slowed down. There were a couple drivers that got collected after the fact as well, but not the way that they wanted to kick things off here. A couple drivers in that had good speed. Gavin Gardner in the 55. He's had a lot of good speed this season. Kyle St. Jean. And the other 55 also with good speed here tonight. So unfortunate. They're going to be down pit road. Matthew L.C. Jr. looks to be down pit road. Getting that damage fixed. We'll see if he's able to get it back out without losing more than one lap. He did lose 2 laps, it looks like, but if he can get that car back out, he may be able to make that back up. We'll have to see how this race plays out, but right now, 19 cars on the lead lap, and we are getting ready to send them back green. Get ready to go back racing. Pace car back to the safety of pit road, and this field going to tighten up on the exit of turn number 4. And they'll wait for the restart zone here. Brandon Atkinson, control car on the bottom, gets a good launch, and we're back racing. Brandon Elvis in the 54 pulls alongside Peyton Hamlet way down the racetrack in the 98, trying to make that apron lane work. And down the back straightaway they go. A couple cars banging doors down into turns 3 and 4. Everybody trying to figure things out. Brandon Atkinson out front, able to pull ahead for the race lead. Dylan Connor in the 91 now up to the 4th spot, trying to work his way forward. Adam Fulford on the bottom, kind of trapped on that inside lane. I don't think the bottom's where you want to be early. But look at Peyton Hamlet. He's making it work in the 98, trying to drive that car back to the front. Up in front of him, Connor Knowlton takes a peek to the inside of Brandon Elvis. Not going to have enough of a run, going to have to tuck back in line. And that's the tough thing about IRP. When you get these big runs down into the corner, sometimes it's honestly better to check up just a little bit and try and keep that car from sliding at all. As now Dylan Connor in the 91, just about clear of Adam Fulford that time. But that does check up Cole Baxter and Brian Grable and opens up the door for them back behind. Fulford drives back to the inside. Cole Baxter in the 0-3 has got a great view of this. So he's trying to work forward as well. Currently runs in the 6th spot. 12 laps into this one. Brian Grable and Carter Hollingsworth run in the 7th and 8th positions back behind him. Lap 14 going to go up on the board, this time across the line. Adam Fulford in the 71, still trying to get around. And as you see, when they battle like this, look at the gap that Connor Knowlton in the 3rd spot has been able to get over Dylan Connor. Fulford really keeping this line kind of back behind as he's not allowing Dylan Connor to quite clear on that outside lane, and Connor not quite able to clear. 71 of Fulford just having a lane to the inside. You can see the line of race cars lined up back behind him that time. 15 laps complete, 35 laps remain here at IRP. We've still got 18 cars on the lead lap. Chris Smith in the 80 did pull that car pit side after the damage from that first caution flag. And now finally Dylan Connor able to get around Adam Fulford and clear for the spot, but here comes Cole Baxter right to the outside of the 71. It seems like as soon as the 71 gets clear of one car, there's going to be another driver right there back behind him. You can see the 22 of Brian Grable. He gets a big run down the back straightaway. Little contact that time between Fulford and Baxter. Fulford trying to keep that car pinned down. He's a little sideways off of 4, and it looks like that time he's going to be able to get to the outside. But here comes Brian Grable trying to peek to the inside of Adam Fulford. Little crossover move there, leaning on one another up off of 2. Fulford in the 71, able to get into position right there. That's the 6th spot. Is back behind him, Justin Coleman in the 14, going the wrong direction on the inside lane. And now up front for the race lead, 3-car battle. Here comes Connor Knowlton on the inside. They thought about 3 wide. On the exit of turn number 2, the 15 of Brandon Atkinson driving that car down the racetrack. Trying to get the best run up off of the corner that he can. Everybody single file through the field now. Things starting to calm down as we're about 5 laps shy of halfway. And this is the point where if you have been sliding those tires, if you have been pushing that car a little bit too hard, you're going to start to feel it as you see the 71 of Adam Fulford look to the inside of Cole Baxter, leaning on the left rear quarter panel of that 19 machine. Just trying to get the drive up off of the corner, but the inside just so tough to pass here at IRP. And you can see as soon as the 19 slides, that opens up the door to the inside for the 71 of Fulford. Fulford going to have the run down the back straightaway, but can he make anything happen down into 3 and 4? Little contact that time, a little more contact. The 71 up the racetrack, and now the 19 of Baxter loose up off of the corner. Fulford going to have a big run now to the bottom. Glides up to that white line in the center. Back behind him, huge run from the 22 of Brian Grable. He pulls up right to the back bumper with nowhere to go. There's not really an option of going 3 wide to the inside because you're not able to get that run up off of the corner if you use that bottom lane. But the 22, I think, running out of options to move forward. He's had the 71 of Fulford in front of him for quite some time, as is Carter Hollingsworth and Cole Baxter. Trying to get around has not been easy. 27 laps to go this time out front. Brandon Elvis still trying to get around Brandon Atkinson for the race lead. We continue to watch the battle for the 5th spot as there's contact that time. Baxter and Fulford come together right on the exit of the corner. Baxter going to have to hang on to it that time, and now he falls back a little bit sideways once again through turns 3 and 4. Here comes Carter Hollingsworth on the inside. Hollingsworth to the bottom. Can he make something happen in that bright yellow and red and blue number 28? Little loose up off of turn number 2 that time. Brian Grable in the 22 right there on his back bumper. Big move that time from Carter Hollingsworth. Slides up in front of Cole Baxter. Baxter tries the crossover move, but Brian Grable is right there. Grable down to the bottom. We're 3 wide down the front straightaway. Here comes Jackson McLaren to the outside. Grable going to try to slide up in front of the 7 of McLaren. Baxter all kinds of sideways. That car looks like the tires hot on the rear of that race car, and he is really having a handful with 25 laps to go. We're halfway in and halfway home. And a great race we're watching so far. Slide job for second. Connor Knowlton slides up in front of Brandon Elvis, and he'll take that second spot as we've got a gap now out front. Brandon Atkinson holds the race lead over Connor Knowlton. Brandon Elvis runs 3rd. And Dylan Connor starting to track down this front group. Look at the lap times that last time around. Adam Fulford, actually one of the fastest cars on the racetrack, but your leader's a little bit slower than some of these cars back behind. Fulford, Hollingsworth, and Grable all faster than your top 3 that last time around. We'll have to keep an eye on some of the drivers outside the top 5 towards the end of this race as we've got 22 laps to go. 22 to go. Peek to the inside now from Connor Lee. He looks underneath Cole Baxter. Up in front, Carter Hollingsworth now trying to get around Adam Fulford. Hollingsworth in the 28 slides up in front of the 71. A little bit too much of a slide, though. The rear's all kinds of sideways in the 28, but can he use that outside lane now to try and hold off Adam Fulford? Fulford with a slide job of his own, and here comes Carter Hollingsworth with a crossover to the inside. Brian Grable tried to join, but Hollingsworth had the better run. And now Hollingsworth back to the bottom this time out of turns 3 and 4. 20 laps to go, and Hollingsworth going to be able to clear the 71 of Adam Fulford. Move Carter Hollingsworth to the final spot in the top 5, and now we've got a battle for the race lead. Here comes Connor Knowlton to the inside. Knowlton in the 24 trying to win for the 3rd time this season. Atkinson in the 15 trying to pick up his first victory of the season. And that time the 15 was able to hold off, but can he do it 19 more times? 19 laps remain here at IRP, and the 15 definitely looking like it's struggling off of the corner just a little bit. Here comes the 24 of Connor Knowlton once again. Dive to the inside and into turn number 3. The 24 peeks ahead. What does Brandon Atkinson have left in the tank? Tries the crossover move, but Connor Knowlton to the front in the number 24. 4-car breakaway, new leader with 18 laps to go. Connor Knowlton is out front. And we have got one stopped in turn number 3. That's Trey Ashworth, and the caution flag is going to fly. Chris Fleming involved in the 18. And caution flag is out just as the 24 of Connor Knowlton took the race lead. And that will change everything in this top 5, because I think a couple of the cars that were a little bit further back are maybe just a little bit quicker at this moment in time. We'll see how this restart shakes everything out. But let's look at what happened. The number 8 of Trey Ashworth. Oh, it happened maybe a little bit before that, actually. 18 of Chris Fleming just drove in a little bit too hot and went up the racetrack. and into the wall. Unfortunate. I think Fleming just had a little bit too big of a run down into the corner. Let's watch onboard. You see he had to drive a really low line down there and just did not have enough, and I don't know if he knew that the 8 of Trey Ashworth was out there 3 wide. And unfortunately, that will bring out the caution flag. For the second time here tonight, Connor Knowlton going to have to reset things here in the 24 if he wants to pick up his third victory of the season. Looking back at Connor Knowlton's Street Stock Showdown career, he does have 3 victories with this series. He won the 2nd race of this season and the 3rd race of this season. And then last season, he won the season opener. He's been a driver that's had a lot of speed early in the season, but has not been able to translate that into these final couple races. We'll see if the 24 can do it again here. And now, white flag is out. We'll send him back green this time. Inside of 15 laps to go. Connor Knowlton going to have Brandon Atkinson alongside, and Brandon Elvis and Dylan Connor in row number 2, who are going to be hungry for this race lead. The field tightens up through turn number 4. We'll wait for the restart zone, and the green flag is out, and we're back racing. 13 laps to go here at IRP. The field is back together, and we're back underway. Here comes Brandon Atkinson in the 15. Tried to look to the outside. Knowlton tried to shut the door. Here comes Brandon Elvis to the bottom. And here comes Carter Hollingsworth to the bottom. 3 wide into turn number 3. The 28 of Hollingsworth rocketed to the inside. Can he take the 3rd spot? And there's contact. Hangs on to it up off of the corner, but here comes Dylan Connor. Connor now challenges for the 3rd spot with 12 laps to go. Out front, new race leader for the first time this race. Brandon Elvis in the 54 was able to sneak by the 24 of Connor Knowlton when the contact happened. And now he comes back to 11 laps to go. Can Brandon Elvis get it done for the 4th time this season? Elvis, the winningest driver in Street Stock Showdown history, trying to add to that trophy case here tonight. This would be win number 12 if he can survive 10 more laps. Still battling for the 3rd spot. Carter Hollingsworth on the bottom, just not able to clear the 91 of Dylan Connor just yet. We'll see what the 28 is able to do down into turn number 1. A little bit of a slide that time. Moves up the racetrack, and that's going to allow Dylan Connor to get a big run down the back straightaway. Now a little nudge from Adam Fulford. Hollingsworth going to have to try and shut the door on Fulford, but Fulford looks to the outside through turns 3 and 4. Looks like the 28 of Hollingsworth able to maintain that 4th spot. They battle back behind him still. Brian Gravel trying to work his way to the front, still running in the 7th position. He's got Brandon Atkinson on his front bumper. Atkinson looks like he may have burned off the good in those tires, as now we've got a battle for the race lead. Connor Knowlton to the inside, and now here comes your fast qualifier. Dylan Connor on the bottom. 9 laps to go, make it 8 laps to go at the line, and 3 cars going for the race lead. Connor on the bottom, Knowlton in the middle, Elvis on the top side, the 54, using that outside lane, trying to make the momentum work. And here comes Carter Hollingsworth in the 28. 4 cars under a blanket for the race lead. This time by the laps running out, the 91 of Dylan Connor trying to use that catfish line on the apron. Not going to work those. 7 to go for the 54 of Brandon Elvis. Connor loses some ground in the 91. And now the 54 of Brandon Elvis peeks ahead, but he's sideways. Connor Knowlton to the inside. Here comes Carter Hollingsworth in the 28. The 28 through the middle. There's a little contact. The 28 saves it, and he goes around. Connor Knowlton goes around, and he saves it, but no! My goodness. Wow. They were battling hard for the race lead, and Hollingsworth and Connor Knowlton end up in flames. That was exciting. And it all goes down in sparks. Let's watch what happened. You saw the 54 of Elvis kind of get up out of the racing line a little bit, and then there was contact there, and then I think when Hollingsworth bounced off of the door of Connor Knowlton, that's all it took to send that 28 back around up the racetrack. Just such a tough break for both of those drivers. Let's watch on board with the 28 what he saw down into the corner. You see the 54 loose, opens up the door to the inside. And then I think just 24 maybe squeezed the 28 of Hollingsworth up just a little bit, and there was contact with the 54. And unfortunately, Hollingsworth ends up in the wall. Connor Knowlton as well ended up getting a piece of the outside wall. I don't know how how bad his car is. Flip-flop those there. But I would assume there's quite a bit of damage that he's probably not going to be able to recover from. Tough break for the driver second in points. Brandon Atkinson, he got a big piece of that as well. And that's going to shake things up. Third caution of the evening. Quite a few cars got a piece of that one. Now up front is Dylan Connor. Your fast qualifier. He had a good run on that restart. Was able to get up to the third spot. And right when that all happened in front of him, he was able to inherit the race lead. And Connor going to choose the inside lane here. We'll see what Brandon Elvis can do in the 54 on the outside. How about Adam Fulford in the 71? I bet he's pretty fired up. Coming back to a green-white checkered finish from the third spot. We'll have 2 attempts at it here. But it's green-white checkered time here at IRP. Pace car is off. It's in the hands of Dylan Connor. When they get to the restart zone, Ryan Grable in the 22, sitting in the 4th spot. We'll see what he can do. They start to pick up speed into the restart zone. They go. And we're back racing. Great launch from the 54, Brandon Elvis. They kind of stack up back behind him. But what happens through turns 1 and 2? The 91 of Dylan Connor able to get out front. Elvis is loose in the 54. Now here comes Adam Fulford to the inside with 2 to go. Fulford drives down into turns 3 and 4. He's going to take the 2nd spot away from Brandon Elvis. Does the 71 have anything left? Final time around here at IRP. White flag is out. 1 lap to go here at IRP. Adam Fulford trying to put together the lap of his life to try to get to the back bumper of the 91 of Dylan Connor. But the final time into turns 3 and 4, it's not going to be enough. The 71 of Adam Fulford right behind the 91 of Dylan Connor, and Connor is going to pick up his 2nd victory of the season at IRP. Adam Fulford comes home 2nd. Brandon Elvis finishes in the 3rd spot, and that was an action-packed race up at the front. A couple drivers had their chances go up in smoke there at the end. But Dylan Connor ultimately walking away with win number 2 this season. We'll let the 91 get that car parked and do some burnouts there on the front straightaway. And as he gets it up and into victory lane, We'll get him up into the broadcast booth. Our winner here tonight, Dylan Connor. That was a pretty crazy one up at the front of the field. How were you able to kind of pilot the right line there and know when to be aggressive and when to kind of dial it back a little bit?
Oh man, it got a little sketchy from there at the beginning of the very first wreck. I seen them wrecking real high, so I stayed real low as I could, and they just wrecked and came back down the track. Got a little bit of nose damage there, and then when we were able to go green again, I got in fourth, and I just kind of set my pace to where I knew that wasn't really going to chew up the right rear much, and we were able to kind of maintain the gap with those up front, and then we had another restart, and I seen them racing really hard and burning up the right rear. Figured that was my best chance to kind of jump on it and be aggressive if I could, and it just worked out.
Yeah, it definitely played into your favor there. I think you had a great car. I just think momentum was so important that when all of that happened in front of you and you kind of lost those spots, I think it honestly may have helped you, because had you not lost those spots before that all happened, you probably would have been involved in some of that. So ultimately, it all worked out for the 91 machine here tonight. That's going to be a great night for the points. Next week, we head to a little bit different of a racetrack. Have you done any testing, and how are you feeling heading into Oswego Mini?
Yeah, it's going to be different for sure. Even on the regular Oswego track, I've probably only ran the late model and mini stock there, so never been on a street stock there at all. So, but yeah, I definitely have to get some testing in before next week. I've never ran anything on the mini track there, so. But looking at it, I think it'll be a fun track. We had a surprisingly a really good race at Nashville Mini, so uh, I ain't no doubt the group of guys we got, everybody races right. I think we'll have a good race.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's going to be pretty exciting because it's 75 laps, only one set of tires the whole time. You're going to have to really keep the car underneath of you and also try and keep that bottom lane closed off. But great run for the 91 here tonight. Who do you have to thank for win number 2 this season?
Oh, of course, I got to thank all my family and friends for all the support, and my wife and everybody that tunes in and watches me. And I thank my dad for the spotting and all the help there. My main sponsors, Chris and Alan Puryear with Caldwell Banker Elite, and of course WD Broadcasting for putting this whole deal on.
For sure, it's been a great season up to this point. We've had a couple wrecks, couple ruffled feathers, but all in all, I think we've seen some great racing in these street stocks, and each winner I feel like really earned that checkered flag, and you earned it here tonight. The 91 was fast qualifier and ultimately drove back up to the front when it was all said and done. So congratulations on the checkered flag here tonight, and we wish you luck in the next 4 races to close out this season.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yep. All right, folks, that was our winner here tonight. Dylan Connor drove to the front. And now let's talk to our second place finisher. He was a driver that had a great battle with the 91 of Dylan Connor and comes home in the second place spot when it's all said and done. Adam Fulford up into the broadcast booth, P2 here this evening. It was an eventful race up at the front of the field. You were able to stay with it, keep speed in that 71, and find P2 at the end.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure my right rear tire is about 1,000,000 degrees right now. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Great race. A lot of side-by-side action, both with Dylan, with Grable, with Carter, Cole Baxter, all them guys. A lot of fun. Like I said, a lot of good side-by-side action. Thankfully, there wasn't too many cautions. I feel like all of them were just kind of racing deals anyways, especially that last one. There was a lot going on there. So just happy to be able to finally make a return back here and get a podium and have a good, clean race for the most part.
Yeah, it was a pretty good race for the 71. We saw you battling with Dylan Connor there early, and when you were in that battle, you saw the kind of space that you were getting up in front of you, and then also maybe saw those cars lining up behind the two of you. How did you know to keep the car under your feet and also not burn off the tires extra in that moment battling the 91?
It was definitely tough. At first we had a couple car lengths gap, and then I kept looking, and I just see a whole freight train of cars behind us. And me and him were sitting there battling side by side. I think we made a little bit of contact a couple of laps, but nothing egregious. But that definitely showed, hey, I've got speed with him. I was wanting to be in front of him, but I got a little bit loose off of four, just gassed up a little bit too much, and at that point I was like, well, I'm gonna have to sit there and surrender that one. Big picture ahead. 50 laps here is definitely an eternity. Them turns take like forever. But
Yeah,
overall,
turns,
though, definitely a lot of fun though.
Yeah, it looked like a fun race here tonight. You guys had a lot of good battles, and like you said, the turns seemed like an eternity at IRP, especially when you're having to fight the car up off of the corner. But great run for the 71 machine here tonight. We've got 4 races left this season. Which one do you have circled on your schedule as one that you probably had the best shot of winning?
Uh, I will be a little bit ballsy right here and just say probably the Oswego Mini because I feel like there's going to be a lot of cautions. Um, but I don't know. We'll sit here and see. I haven't really looked at the schedule too terribly much. Hopefully Winchester will come out before we get to Bristol. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Pretty bumpy track, but something similar to this, just with a lot more banking. Um, so honestly, I'm just looking forward to be able to race the next 4 races. Like I said, I hate I've missed a couple of them here and there, but hopefully I can get back on track and make these final 4 and give a good showing to my sponsors, which I got to give them a shout out real quick. Sunset Pest Control, Quality Marine Welding, LNA Tire and Auto, CarQuest and Supply, Coleman Designs, ECR, Coastal Performance, Rankin Race Engines. Glad to have all those people support and appreciate Elvis and Coleman still letting me be on the team, even though I've made some dumbass moves here lately. But we'll take it, learn, and go on with it.
All right. Well, congratulations to you on P2 here tonight, Adam. Hopefully, before season's all said and done, you can improve it one spot and take that first checkered flag in the street stocks.
Gotta try our best to. I feel like I'm becoming the LTP bridesmaid here lately, it feels like.
I know. I'm going to have to change Elvis's name in the other Discord, and it's going to have to become your new name.
I'm telling you, second place, at first it's kind of cool, but now it just kind of sucks. So hopefully we can get that win before the season's over.
For sure. Congrats again, and good luck to you.
Appreciate it, Winston.
Yep. All right, now we're going to talk to our third place finisher here tonight. One of the drivers that was almost tangled up in that incident down the back straightaway. There was a lot of things going on there. It looked like the 54 may have used up some of the good in the tires. But Brandon, tell me what happened down the back straightaway and how ultimately you survived for a third place finish.
I don't know, man. That was just a shit show. I don't know, man. You got people dive bombing for no reason. Don't even try to pass you clean. It's just the lack of race etiquette, man. You get put 3 wide. I mean, you're on outside and somebody puts a 3 wide middle, then cries because you're on the outside when you come off the corner. So I don't know. It's just kind of a BS race. It kind of always turns into a shit show with the same people all the time.
Yeah, there definitely was some close racing there and some doors rubbed here and there, and it definitely made for an exciting show up here, but definitely I can see the frustrations amongst the field. There not going to be too many drivers happy after all that, but ultimately P3 for the 54, not too bad of a night in points. Got some qualifying points, or a qualifying point, and then I think maybe got a bonus or 2 in the race and brought it home P2. What can you do the next 4 races to try and pick up a third championship?
I don't know, man. I probably just sit out because you got people like Connor Knowlton in here that can't drive their finger up their ass that thinks they're God. And he's sitting there saying he gave me 15 laps to figure it out. Well, I mean, he only tried to pass me once. When he did, he just came over and doored the crap out of me. So I don't know what. I'm probably just going to write this off, man. It's not fun anymore.
Understandably so. Well, P3 here tonight. Who do you have to thank for third place finish?
Just thanks for you for putting us on. I know you try, you do your best to give us a good league to race in. It's just when the people that are in it can't respect it no better than that, it's hard to race against people like that. So just thank you for putting us still on, and thanks to all my teammates at ECR.
All right. Well, congratulations on P3 here tonight. Hopefully we see you back. Hopefully everybody figures things out and races with a little bit more respect in the future. But congrats on P3.
Thanks, man.
All right, race fans, that was Elvis. Obviously a little bit upset at the way that things went there at the end of it. We'll get our final results pulled up on screen for you guys. And Dylan Connor, your winner in the 91 for the second time this season. Adam Fulford comes home in the second position. Brandon Elvis third. Brian Grable comes home in the fourth spot in the 22. Connor Lee rounds out the top 5. Justin Coleman with a good drive up to the 6th position. Just behind him, both of the 55s, Gavin Gardner and Kyle St. Jean, able to work their way back up into the top 10, finishing 7th and 8th. 9th and 10th, rounding out the top 10, is Peyton Hamlet in the 98, and Jesse Binkley in the 25. 11th spot goes to Jackson McLaren. Behind him, Bradley Major in his first start with the series finishes P12. Brandon Atkinson P13, Carter Hollingsworth P14, and Connor Knowlton rounds out your lead lap finishers in the 15th place spot. Chris Fleming comes home 16th, Cole Baxter 17th, Trey Ashworth 18th, Chris Smith 19th, Matthew Elsey Jr. 20th, and Bryce Bozell rounds out the field in the 21st spot. Well, that will do it for tonight's coverage of the Indianapolis Raceway Park in the Street Stock Showdown. Looking at the schedule going forward, we've got 4 races left: Oswego, 5 Flags, Lanier, and a high-banked half mile. Not sure which one just yet, but a high-banked half mile nonetheless. Going to finish this one off. Going to be an exciting points battle down to the end. You guys will want to stick with us. If you haven't already, hit that red subscribe button for more iRacing content. And until next time, I am your host, Winston Deal, signing it off from the WD Broadcasting Network. Y'all take it easy. Peace out.